How's it guys? Welcome back to another video. Today the video is going to be a bit different. I know I have made a lot of videos about carburetors and some basic tune-ups. However, there are a lot of guys on the internet, especially YouTube, that's showing people how to service the carburetor. But what's the point telling them how to service the carburetor if sometimes your carburetor is not actually going to be fixed by a service, because replacing jets and gaskets doesn't fix all the problems. These are old mechanical devices, and certain times certain problems arises, and then your carburetor will have to be replaced. So unfortunately, this video is not a servicing video. I'm just going to explain the basic concept of how this device works. Okay, let's go over the basics, right? If you look at this carburetor, let's just say you're standing in the front of your car. This side here now is the front. Towards the left hand side, you have your throttle. Your throttle cable attaches here, and you make vroom vroom. So every time you move this, you need to know that your butterfly valve here opens. Watch this, right? So that's your throttle. Then if you come towards the back, you're going to see two screws. This is the Keihin original ks2 carburetor, so it might not look exactly the same on the pirate versions like the Doco and stuff, but just know the screw that's towards the bottom is either going to be here in the original, or it's going to be around here, which is a pirate. Those two screws, the ones that are closer to the base of the carburetor, meaning it's closer to the bottom, that's going to be your air fuel ratio screw. Basically what it does, it allows you to adjust the amount of air entering this carburetor, and in return it will limit or add more fuel. Then you got your second screw. This screw is closer to the throttle linkage, right? It's closer there, and every time you turn the screw in, it's going to open this valve more at idle. So if you turn the screw in, the valve might sit like that, it might sit like that, it might sit like that. So that's why it's called a fast speed idle screw, because the more air that enters the carburetor, the more the idle is going to pick up. And then I'm going to get back how to adjust the screw as well. But basically it's not a way to service. This video is not a servicing or tuning video. I'm just explaining the concept behind this carburetor. Then we covered the throttle. We covered the two screws that are going to be here, your throttle, you got your air fuel screw, you got your fast idle speed screw. Then you're going to have your idle cutoff valve, called an idle solenoid idle cutoff valve. Basically what this component does now, it has one wire here. This is positive. So when you turn your ignition on, it's going to, you'll have to have it connected to a 12 volt switched ignition source. So when you turn your ignition on, this valve here that's inside here, it's going to pop out, and it's going to allow fuel to go through this carburetor at idle. Then when you turn your ignition off, to prevent fuel from just leaking down the carburetor and going through the intake even if the car is off, it will shut this valve and block the fuel. So remember, you got a constant 12 volt, and then you will also have a ground wire, but I'm going to get to that now. Now if you come here, this is where the needle and seat goes. From my experience, a lot of guys tend to fiddle with this for no reason, and I'm going to explain why it's pointless to fiddle with it. The factory, the way they manufactured this carburetors, they set the needle and seat screw there, and then they blocked it off with this plastic because it's not supposed to be tampered with. If your car is overfueling, if it has a lot of other problems, underfueling, fuel starvation, that means the carburetor needs a service. In that case, you would have to remove this cover when you're adjusting the needle and seat, but it's not going to fix. Let's just say you buy a brand new carburetor and then it's not running well, and then somebody tells you open this cap and adjust the needle and seat. It doesn't work that way. So needle and seat is there. Then towards here, you have your accelerator pump that sits inside here. It's a little rubber diaphragm, and you have this actuator arm that's connected all the way to your throttle linkage. So a lot of guys, when they're driving the car, they tell me when they accelerate like, you know, vroom vroom. When they do that, then the car has a slight flat spot because air travels quicker than fuel. You guys need to realize that liquid travels slower and air travels faster. So you need the right amount of air and fuel, which is approximately, I think it's 14.7, the ratio. You need the right amount of air and fuel to go at a specific time for combustion to take place. Now, when you accelerate, look at the butterfly inside. Can you see it moving? So air travels so quick, by the time the fuel gets there, that means the car had more air than fuel. You want both at the same time. That's where the accelerator pump, what I showed you here, my finger is hitting it, that's where the accelerator pump goes, and it presses onto this, and in return, an extra squirt of fuel will go into the carburetor. So just remember that flat spots are usually caused by that. Then if I turn this carburetor towards the side here, you're going to see a pipe, not a pipe, actually a fitting. This is your main feed of fuel going into the carburetor. So that is why the needle and seat is right over here. Basically, the needle and seat is like a shutoff valve, similar to the flushing system in your toilet. When this bowl fills up with fuel, it will shut the needle and seat off, so the carburetor doesn't overfuel or overflood, if that makes any sense. Basically, it's like a stopper. When the fuel climbs, and then it stops here, the needle and seat will shut off. It won't allow more fuel. Excess fuel will go through your fuel separator and go back to your tank. Then afterwards, you have this little screw here. This screw is to release the fuel that's in the bowl. So you know, when you're stripping carburetors or taking it out from a customer's vehicle or your own vehicle, it's good practice to release this to make sure when you pick the carburetor up, that fuel is just not falling everywhere through the intake and stuff. So yeah, basically that's what it's for. And then if I get to here, this is your vacuum advance, and then you got a pipe that runs from your vacuum advance. From here, it needs to run to this port here. See, this runs there. This here runs to your choke, but you can block this one off. So the one at the base could be blocked off, not needed with South African models. Remember this now. One with the base needs to be blocked off. The one closest to the base, you're not closest to the bottom, needs to be blocked off. The one running from here needs to run there. So there's going to be a pipe that's connecting there. This little mechanism is for you to attach your throttle cable. Then there's another contraption which you have to put your choke cable through there, and I'm getting to the choke now. But before I get to the choke, let's talk about second stage. So when you accelerate to a certain amount, and when the car is under a lot of load, your second stage is going to open. And when I say second stage, remember, this is your first stage, which your car usually runs, 2,500 RPM. Your first stage opens up, fuel goes through one port. Once you come a bit higher in the RPM range, we need extra fuel. The engine, the 4-cylinder engine, is demanding that extra amount of fuel. So what will happen? Vacuum will come so high, that same pipe sucks the vacuum. This little mechanism here, which is the second stage, will open up. I'll try to show that to you on the camera. Can you see that? And it opens up, and then extra fuel is dumped into your car, and your car gets a bit more power. So there's a little diaphragm inside here. If this diaphragm is damaged or worn out, it looks like a little rubber. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it before. It looks like a little rubber. If that diaphragm is worn out, your second stage won't work. Likewise, there's another diaphragm here for the accelerator pump. If that diaphragm is worn out, it won't work as well. So yeah, let's get to the choke. So if you look here, can you see this little device here? Basically, it chokes the engine. When your engine is cold, it's hard for, this is not a computer system. You will have to have choke. So let's just say on a cold winter's morning, you need more fuel than air. So the only way to get more fuel than air is to reduce the amount of reduce the amount of air by closing this choke via the cable. And then what's going to happen for that first few minutes, the car is going to run a bit rich, but that's what you want on a cold morning. And obviously once the car gets to operating temperature, this choke, you need to manually manually open it, because a hot engine wants more air than it needs fuel. A cold engine needs more fuel than it needs air. Hope you guys are still with me. I know this is a lot to take in, but you can always go through whatever I explained and stop by each part. So yeah, your choke. Okay, let's get to vacuum advance. The reason I removed this carburetor in general, because it had a problem where the vacuum advance nipple broke off. So usually on a Keihin ks2 carburetor, there will be a little pipe that's popping out here, and all the old spec Golf ones, that pipe runs to an old spec distributor. That's to adjust timing at low throttle speeds. Now a lot of you guys get confused. You all are seeing 3 ports here, like 3 nipples coming out, and you all don't know where to plug that vacuum advance. Reason being, the Pirate ones has 3, but my suggestion, you'll have 1, 2, 3. So 1 and 3 you're going to blank off, and then you're going to use 2, the one that's in the middle, to connect that vacuum advance. So a lot of these parts in this carburetors, even a service won't fix it, because you see you have springs, even you have springs here, you have springs there, you have little contraptions there. When these parts wear out due to age, some of it are plastic, some of it are very weak metal, you're gonna have dramas with it. So I'm not going to strip this carburetor, because it's pointless me stripping it and then basically I'm not going to actually service it for you guys. So I'm going to leave that for another video. As long as you guys understand the basic components of what I just explained, then y'all can watch for part 2. And then in part 2, I'm going to be stripping this thing from scratch. I'm going to buy a carburetor kit and I'm going to service it. So when I'm servicing it, you guys can actually take your own carburetor and have it on a table, and then once I start my video showing you guys exactly how to strip this apart and how to service it, you guys won't feel lost and confused when I'm mentioning terms like the accelerator pump, the diaphragm, the throttle linkage, the air fuel screw. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I've been talking a lot, but I have that problem. I just want to talk. None of my videos are scripted, and yeah, I just go with the flow. And I would appreciate if each and every one of you would like, subscribe, try to make my channel grow, because I really put a lot of effort. I know I've been busy, and I wasn't making a lot of content due to burnout. But yeah, working a day job and then doing this on the weekend, repairing customers' cars on the weekend, trying to make content, it takes a toll on you, but I'm really trying my best to get back into it. And yeah, the only way that's going to be motivation for me is if each and every one of you subscribe to my channel, drop a like, drop a comment, and just wait for part 2. Sharp guys.